I've never seen this. A lot of people that are, much older than me that have been in this business for a lot longer than me, have also said this is something they've never seen before. Gold, almost crossed $4,000 earlier. It seemed like it was going to get there. Silver's rocking as well. It is a special time. And, I think if you've got a good gold story like we do, I don't think capital is going to be a problem as long as you can, deliver value to shareholders.
The Financial Survival Network. Now more than ever. The Financial Survival Network.
And welcome. This is Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. We are today with Matt Roma, CEO of our newest sponsor, Golden Cross Resources, which basically started up in April and is in Australia, developing the Reedy Creek Project in Victoria. Matt, it's great to have you on the show. So you got your first drill results back, which is really fast when you think about it, less than 6 months from when you started drilling. And also you did some resampling of some historic cores that were done prior. Tell us, what did you find?
Yeah, thanks for having me back on, Kerry. Excited to be here. As you mentioned, we put out our first batch results last Monday. Today is the 6th of October, so a week ago. The first update was to let the market know, first and foremost, we've now completed 10 holes for over 2,300 meters, which was essentially our phase one drill program. It was a 2,000 meter program, and the first batch results is really only on the first 3 holes. We've drilled we've put out about 400 meters of assays, and the assays show, a couple things. First and foremost, we've identified, grade of gold in every hole, and also that we've seen this lower grade halo, which we were really hoping to see with the assays. And if you've followed Southern Cross and their Sunday Creek project, that was really what was very encouraging at that project was seeing this lower grade halo system around the high grade vein. And the holes we drilled were all shorter holes, and to test the vein and to test the halo of gold, and 3 for 3 on that. And we are drilling much deeper holes, and those assays are still pending, and we're excited to get those out to the market in due time.
What I found really fascinating was how much gold you found in those historic cores, which in addition prove your thesis about the halo. I mean, you found visible gold in what you drilled, but in the historic cores, you got some really good results there.
Yeah, exactly. It shows that there's gold throughout this system. And, hopefully there's a source of gold, much deeper, and, that's what we plan to vector into. But yeah, when the previous operators, Great Pacific, drilled out this part of Reedy Creek, they only tested the vein. They didn't test the core around the vein. So for the core that we were able to, we ran a resampling program on that core to see, what kind of results we had outside of that vein. And you can see that there's this halo around those veins, and it's not just one drill hole that hit some gold. Every one of these holes has some gold in it.
Obviously, in phase 2, beauty is you're fully funded. There's not going to be any dilution for the foreseeable future. What does phase 2, what is it shaping up, and what impact did the resampling of those cores as far as your targets go for the next phase?
Yeah, so we announced last week that we have a fully funded 10,000 meter phase 2 program. We're sitting on about $5 million in cash, and we have a number of targets in the Reedy Creek gold field, which is where all but one hole has been drilled, and we're also working in another area called Welcome Reef, and we put some news out on that area not too long ago, but it has a very very interesting history, dating back to artisanal mining days. And that area has not seen any modern exploration. We are the first company, since, the early 1900s that have been able to gain access to that area and use any sort of modern day exploration techniques on the ground. So we just completed our first drill hole there last week. And I'm sure we've started up the second hole already. And so, yeah, there's, no shortage of targets to test at the overall project. And, that's exactly what we plan to do.
Right. And I saw also that you added a second drill earlier than anticipated.
Yeah, we had always said we were going to add a second drill rig. We expected to do that in September, but with the second financing that we completed in July, we thought, why wait? We wanted to keep the ball rolling, and we wanted to test multiple targets at one time, and the only way to do that was to add a second rig. So we did that in July, and those rigs have been turning steady since.
Right. So that's good. You're getting the production. Do you have any idea when the next assays will be coming in?
I'm hesitant to put a date on that yet. These first batch assays took a lot longer than we had anticipated. And I just don't want to set expectations just yet. But hopefully, over the next few months we'll have a next set of results out, and hopefully a steady cadence from there.
Right. And Ben, it looks like you've managed with these first three holes that you've gotten results on to de-risk the project somewhat.
Yeah, I think what we were excited that we saw was basically, we're seeing laminated quartz veins, we're seeing this arsenic and gold halo around the vein. Obviously we saw visible gold in one of the holes. We've got the presence of stibnite. So these are all encouraging things, and these are helping us kind of develop our phase 2 drill program, and we think we're on the outer bounds of what's hopefully a much bigger system down below, and all of these kind of data points help us vector into the source of this. There's gold precipitating from somewhere, and we're after to find it.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the macro situation for gold out there. It's any second now it's going to cross $4,000 US. And obviously there's a lot more interest in the sector than there was just a year ago. And that's got to be making it easier for you to access capital without excessive dilution. You've been going around. What's the response you're getting from investors that you're meeting with?
Yeah, it's remarkable, right, Kerry? I mean, I've never seen this. A lot of people that are much older than me that have been in this business for a lot longer than me, have also said this is something they've never seen before. You can just see by the amount of financings being taken down, publicly, every day. Yeah, as you mentioned, gold, almost crossed $4,000 earlier. It seemed like it was going to get there. Silver's rocking as well. Generalists are back in the space looking for product. Institutionals are open checkbooks. It is a special time, and I think if you've got a good gold story like we do, I don't think capital is going to be a problem as long as you can deliver value to shareholders, and ultimately that's what we're after. Yeah,
and you can't find a better jurisdiction now and a hotter exploration market than Australia.
Yeah, Victoria is it's special. It's these high grade gold systems are not overly common, but when you've got Fosterville, you've got Costerfield, and now you've got Sunday Creek, it showcases the true value of these rocks.
Right. So your background, you're in finance, worked with several mining concerns. This got to be the opportunity of a lifetime here, huh?
Yeah, very excited. Sometimes you got to get lucky, and we timed the acquisition of this project right at the right time. We hit the market right at the right time, and it's been a tailwind, and we're super excited that we have this asset. We've got the cash, and that we're exploring the way we are, and a lot of runway ahead, and we'll see what the drills turn up. Yeah.
Well, mining is a risky business, but at $4,000 an ounce, it's a lot less risky than it is at $2,000 or $2,500 an ounce, because obviously you've got high grade you're dealing with, but even some of the lower grade halos become economically feasible at these prices, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, if you're a more advanced company, development stage with, a little less grade than you'd like, it starts to become a lot more economic when gold's sitting at $4,000 an ounce.
Yeah. Like nothing like high prices to really up the potential and the potential returns and, exit strategy. I guess you'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, it's early days here, but ultimately, we're after finding an economic deposit at Reedy Creek.
Yeah, and that's the name of the game. So, anyways, if you want to find out more, I suggest you go over to goldencrossresources.com, sign up for notifications so you get the latest information as it's released. The ticker symbols in the US, ZCRMF, and on the TSX Venture, AUX. Matt, really appreciate your stopping by, and we will follow up with you in a few weeks and hopefully get more drill results, more excitement.
Thanks, Kerry. Thanks for having me on.
The Financial Survival Network.